313watkins.com. Streaming on Roku.
Everyone's reading the Detroit Native Sun, even our competitors. We've got the best writers, best coverage, and best ad rates to draw new clients to your business. Advertise with us for as little as $35. All ads include a free design and will be featured in both our print version newspaper and online. Call today for a free price quote and take advantage of our specials. When you purchase any full or half page for 2 months, we'll give you the third month free. That's right. You can reach another potential 50,000 to 100,000 clients for free. After all, three's the charm in advertising. Call today at 313-457-5944 or email us at DetroitNativeSunNews@gmail.com or visit our website at www.DetroitNativeSunOnline.com. We're waiting for your call. 313-457-5944.
Welcome to Expose Under the Sun. I'm your host, Valerie Lockhart, publisher and executive editor of the Detroit Native Sun, a community newspaper that strives to enlighten the community with helpful news and information that's not readily found in mainstream media. This year, we will be celebrating our 21st year anniversary in October, so stay tuned for our upcoming events. And the new issue, which talks about injustice at the Supreme Court, is on stands now and can be read online at the DetroitNativeSunOnline.com. So today we're going to introduce two of our new hosts that will be taking over on the second and fourth Mondays of the month at 11 o'clock. We have Katrina Brown, who is an artist, an advocate, and a academic. And we also have Dr. Sanada Sandadar, who is a historian, an education historian, and professor at Wayne State University and as well as the Wayne County Community College. So look forward to some great things that they'll be doing on the show every second Monday and every second and fourth Monday of the month. And again, please tune in to Expose Under the Sun and pick up our newspaper. So we'll be right back with our first guest. We're talking about the Detroit School Board candidates, and we have one that's in the building right now that is very vocal. Well, actually, we have two because Ms. Brown is also running for school board. And so we'll find out a little bit more about them and why they are the right choice for the Detroit Public Schools School Board this year. So stay tuned and we'll be right back with you.
Everyone's reading the Detroit Native Sun, even our competitors. We've got the best writers, best coverage, and best ad rates to draw new clients to your business. Advertise with us for as little as $35. All ads include a free design and will be featured in both our print version newspaper and online. Call today for a free price quote and take advantage of our specials. When you purchase any full or half page for 2 months, we'll give you the third month free. That's right. You can reach another potential 50,000 to 100,000 clients for free. After all, three's the charm in advertising. Call today at 313-457-5944 or email us at DetroitNativeSunNews@gmail.com or visit our website at www.DetroitNativeSunOnline.com. We're waiting for your call. 313-457-5944.
And welcome back to Expose Under the Sun. We are so thrilled to be the new co-host of Valerie Lockhart's extremely important show. Expose Under the Sun on Mondays and Wednesdays every other week will feature Katrina Brown, artist, advocate, and activist, as well as myself talking about issues in education and how issues in education also pertain to issues of governance and our own freedom. And we're so excited today because we are here to invite Aaliyah Moore, who has been working through the decades, ladies and gentlemen, to bring to the ground obvious needs that our students have that are not being met. We've had a lot of teacher support for our new superintendent, but what's happening with our kids and what's happening with our parents. And so I'm very excited to not just introduce Aaliyah Moore, but Katrina Brown will also be running for school board. So let's listen to them about their platforms a little bit, what has changed and what still stays the same. Thank you, Katrina.
Good morning. I'd like to thank all of our listeners for tuning in this morning. And myself, I'm Katrina Brown, and this is Aaliyah Moore. We're both going to be running for the school board. We're asking everyone to vote for us on November the 4th for the 26th election. And we're just going to start off with Mrs. Moore, just giving us a little bit of background about yourself and how do you work with the Detroit Public Schools currently now.
Well, hello, everyone. Hello, Detroit. Thank you both for this opportunity. The radio station, TV station, I'm sorry. Just thank you for the overall opportunity. I am a mom with a lot of passion. I've had one daughter come out 2020 at the height of COVID. She graduated from Cass. And that was the first virtual graduation. And then I do have a upcoming 11th grader that is at CMA. And what started me really to be more of a vocal parent than just the average volunteering parent was that, I started off at a school called Oakman Orthopedic, and it was unjustly closed by emergency management. And then everything that was the rationales that was presented to us at that time were found to be not true. Mm-hmm. So that just kicked my volunteerism into more of an advocacy, and that has been over 12 years ago. So it just different situations come up, at the height of COVID, most of the Detroit Public Schools meetings or things are online, so that still keeps me in the loop. But I'm just a passionate parent, and it's not just for my two, but for our 48,000.
Ms. Moore, I wrote about Oakman Orthopedic, and I wrote about you while I was writing about my dissertation. And Oakman Orthopedic was really a crown jewel, not just of Detroit, but it was a groundbreaking national school. Anybody who had any type of disability was met with complete dignity. And none of their cognitive skills were assessed through their physical abilities. Kids were actually learning. There were kids with colostomy bags, 4th, 5th graders, who can go to school safely. When they closed Oakman Orthopedic, what happened to these kids, Ms. Moore?
Well, with some of the school board that was in exile at the time, they followed us and they actually advocated. Some of those students went to either Noble or Henderson. Some went out of the district. Some stayed home because parents didn't think, that the schools that were available were the best fits. But we've had a couple of reunions throughout the years, but unfortunately that beautiful building, that was a historical building, is now torn down.
It was such a concise strategy, right? They take the best of our schools that deal with the most vulnerable of our students, take away the dignity and pride of parents, put them in other schools where they can't be protected, and then they go out and they close the 10, the 20 worst performing schools. And we all know that those schools were where the principals and the teachers were, where all the male teachers were, where these male teachers would drive by the bus stops, make sure these kids weren't harassed, and then metastasize the problem. They metastasized it. They took these kids and they spread them around. So because I know you're a parent, and so what was your experience in your kids being trafficked through the system that brought you to this point?
Well, like I said, after Oakman closed, we transitioned to Paul Robeson Malcolm X, one of the two African-centered schools left in the district. We were met with buckets in the hallway, catching rainwater. And so, but parents were working, we worked together and we advocated, we got a new roof. This was many years ago, but fast forward, my second daughter is now an ESC student. And Detroit, if you don't know what ESC is, that's another term that the district has created just to say special education. So, even in that, my daughter's in high school, but you would expect, the ESC experience to be smooth, the transition from middle school to high school, but it wasn't. And so it forced me to file a complaint with the Michigan Department of Education. But parents and Detroit needs to know that I did get justice. My daughter did get her hours that she was missing. The state came in, went and investigated the issues. So, it wasn't a plaything. So, that's a success story to me.
And so that's one of our key points about our show. We would like for people to call in if you ever have problems with your students in Detroit Public Schools, but not only Detroit Public Schools, but any educational institute. We are here as advocates, and we would like for people to speak up because, as you know, Detroit Public Schools has a ESC department that has been under compliance for over maybe 7 years since Dr. Vitti has been around. And as a school board member that has been running for that seat, you're very aware of that. And there is no accountability there. So if you're a parent that you're going through some challenging things with your student, not only special needs, we're asking you to reach out to our show so that we can be advocates for you. Because as parents, we have a responsibility to make sure that everyone is held accountable for our students' education. And so that's one of the things about our show and that we would like to push forward, that all students matter in Detroit Public Schools and, you know, throughout the state of Michigan.
Now, beautiful Ms. Brown, I know for a fact that you are a personal advocate for your nephew going through the system.
Yes.
Can you tell us from your personal experience?
Well, also, I'm a parent of a Detroit Public School student and also a former teacher of Detroit Public Schools. And my
Science.
nephew does attend Turning Point School, and there's a lot of issues there at Turning Point as well. I just filed a complaint with MDE, and they have stepped in. The school is in non-compliance, and there's a new administration in charge, but as a parent, we never got a notice, and there's just a lot of safety issues going on at Turning Point. And we do need to not be afraid. We need to stand up, and a lot of our center-based schools are just overlooked. Along with our regular education schools. So as parents and as activists, we're just asking everyone, if you see something, you need to say something. Don't be afraid. Don't worry about retaliation. And we're running for the school board, we are here to make a difference and make a change. We want everyone to have a voice.
And we kind of got to look at it from both ends, right? Because on the one hand, we got to speak up. We got to talk about the conditions of the school. But on the other hand, we got to look at how DPSCD is actually handling this. How much of our tax money is going into litigation versus fixing these problems?
Absolutely.
Because all of our money is being lost and then trying to cover up these mistakes versus addressing these complaints.
Absolutely.
So what can we do on the other end of it? I know this is a question kind of out of nowhere, but it just struck me. Like because they have to engage in some kind of fiscal responsibility. They just can't be paying out on lawsuits one after the other, can they?
Well, they actually can. I mean, being honest, I attend a lot of these meetings, and give or take maybe 2 or 3 years ago, Sonia Mays, which was the former treasurer, they actually increased their legal defense funds. Yes.
And that's a big improvement for our schools.
Yes. Yes. So because they know, or, the assumption is that legal issues are coming. So let's get prepared. So it's important for Detroit to also know that if you are seeking legal advice, it's important to really seek out who you're talking to as far as legal defense, because some of these, lawyers and firms have been bought and sold. It's just what it is.
And so we have a great firm that we're working with, which is the Spectrum Legal Law Firm, attorney Michael Fortner. So for all of your educational needs, we're asking you to reach out to the Spectrum Legal Firm. They are very good advocates. They stand up for our kids and for our parents as well. And so his name again is attorney Michael Fortner.
And he also supports the Native Son. So upside down, I'm sorry. He also supports the Native Son. So if you want to keep up with any of these discussions, any of the guests, please pick up a paper. That's also a vote.
And so moving forward, we'd like to ask Mrs. Moore her next question. If you are on the school board, what are some of the things that you would like to see done differently if you're elected? Well, we're not going to say if you're elected because we know you're going to win and I'm going to win also. So we're going to get some. There's 5 open seats this year.
Yes.
And we're hoping that you get out there and vote early, because we are here to make a change. We would like to work with everyone where everyone has a voice and everyone's needs will be met. And we're going to make sure that we guarantee that. We will be able to sit down and talk to you and to try to, assist you as best as possible.
And we also want to hear from the charter school membership. I think when we talk about Detroit Public Schools, a lot of our peoples feel like we're not talking about them because over 52% of our children are in charter schools. And these ladies want to address it all. Okay, we're not just addressing DPSCD. We're addressing all Detroit children and their need for education. We want to redefine what public education means when you're receiving public funds. So if you're a charter school parent, we need you more than ever now to come forward and talk about your experiences as well.
Yes, parents and guardians, you have to tell your story, because assumptions and narratives, they will continue to flow. But in order for you to get any type of change, good or bad, but when I do get on the board, I think the transparency is a big piece, and the respect. the district has known for at least 9 years of existence that academics, safety, and support are the top 3 reasons why families left to go to charter schools. So, I mean, one person, one vote, but hopefully we get on, and we will, and we can come together to kind of look at this curriculum. Because when describing this curriculum from a teacher's perspective, I'm hearing that it's dense, you know, and that's, I mean, I'm not an educator, but just listening to that and even seeing the system change academically from my daughter that came out in 2020 to the present of the education that my daughter is receiving as a 11th grader is different, but it's not necessarily for the betterment. So between the academics and just literally welcoming in, I can give Latrice McClendon, the current president, the praise for attempting to bring that relationship back with the community, you know, having meals at board meetings, having the department heads in the hallway to address issues, but to really come together with the core people that are very active. The district needs to have a sit down with them. For the young man that won the $93 million with the settlement for the literacy, he should have been at the table.
He should have.
It's a respect of the citizens in which you serve. Not perfection, but a lot better.
May I speak about that literacy case as well? 93 million was dished out. The boys got a portion of that. The majority, 90-some million, went to a company about literacy, the CFO, the Chief Financial Officer, which was, I believe, Mrs. Vitti. Yeah. And not only that, what was happening during elections, because Detroit, this is so important, there are no parties for Detroit, okay? What was happening during elections is Whitmer came in and we were about to go to the appellate level, and we know it goes more conservative, so we would have lost the case. So we wanted to cash out at the 97 million, right? And Whitmer kept saying she would do it, she would do it. She got the vote, but she didn't cash out until she went back to the Supreme Courts, to the courts, and wiped out that case. That case has absolutely no legal standing. So all the work the NAACP did to make literacy a human right issue and to put it on the books was taken off, and all it cost was $97 million.
We were sold out.
That was not a victory, my friends. We were erased from the books for a little cop-out pay. Think about a $250 million that was stolen from the school district when we went under emergency financial management, and think about how much we owe now. That 97 million didn't do anything.
That's very
It
good.
makes me mad.
That's a
It
very
makes
good
me
point.
upset as well. Absolutely.
So,
And
what would you say to another parent to get them more involved in their child's education? How would you encourage that engagement?
Well, it's baby steps, Detroit. I mean, nobody expects you to be, you know, coming to everything and, you know, every event. But even if you can't make it, try your best to send representation. Even if you're at work and you want to chime in on a meeting, if they have a Zoom option, if it's a Microsoft option, get on. You don't have to speak. You can just listen. Just start having conversations with other parents to learn their experience. Try to at least develop a somewhat relationship with your teachers for whatever, don't wait until parent-teacher conference. You know, if allowed, and that's the sad part too, that some of these schools are not necessarily welcoming parents in, and that's a whole nother issue. But if you are welcomed in the school, just try. Just a little bit. Go in there, go in the office, make sure you have a calendar, make sure you have contact information. It is our responsibility as parents to be engaged. You know, not perfection, but just do what you can do. Whether it's come to a meeting, make an appointment to meet with a teacher or a staff member, go to the board. They give out, they have a POC, supposedly in every school, parent outreach coordinator. Talk to them, get the information. Just do what you can do. Baby steps, and just, you mess up one day, the next day is another day. But it's really no excuse not to try to be engaged, just a little bit.
Is there anyone that parents can call or reach out to beyond the school and the system to get guidance? So, for instance, if they come upon a diagnosis of ADD or autism, or they want to put the kids in special ed, or you don't like the IEP, what are some resources outside of the school within the protection of parents protecting each other?
Well, that would be our agency, What's Happening Now in Education. You can start here, right here with us, and we can be reached at 248-904-8754, and we can try to lead you in the right directions. But what we do want to make clear here is that Aaliyah and I, we are running for the board, and we do want to work with Dr. Vitti. We're not trying to come in and get rid of Dr. Vitti. We just want to work together, and we want everyone to have an input, and that everyone has a voice. And so we do want to work with Dr. Vitti. We want to make that very clear.
Absolutely.
And we want to work with all of the board members. And we just want everyone to have a voice and make this a smooth, transition. We want all of our students to be treated fairly, to have education. We want every school, to get the best quality education with the best teachers and staff. We're here even advocating for teachers for better pay, more respect. Less teachers going into the retention center, teachers not feeling like they are afraid to actually do their job. They're not worried about, their ratings at the end of the year. We just want everyone to be treated fairly and equally.
So let me ask the both of you this. I see a lot of the revamping of the curricula for DPS and DPS-CD, whatever we call ourselves nowadays, has to do with emotional or mental health management. How much of this is being put on teachers' backs versus teaching the RR and Rs? I mean, is this really where we need to go? What do you feel about emotional management as being part of the curriculum and not more? Do you think this is the way we should be going? I'm not saying our kids don't have emotional
I think it should be
needs.
part of the curriculum. We should incorporate that in. Mental health is real. Students do need a timeout. They do need a break sometimes, as well as our teachers and our staff, and no one should be punished for that.
But do you think it's on teachers to implement this mental health curriculum?
Absolutely not.
Good.
We just need to hire more, school psychologists, more social workers. We could have after school. There's so many things that can be done that, that can be done better. But students, we do need more. And teachers do not need to have more, burdens put on them.
Yeah.
Absolutely, and I'll come back behind you and just say that, I talk to educators. I'm not an educator, but I talk to them, and that's the best experience, is to talk to the people that's going through it. And between the children that are now mainstreamed and sitting in classrooms that are, the curriculum is either going straight over their heads or it's behavior, they can't be still. A general ed teacher is dealing with this, and it's multiple children, which is taking away from the actual children that can receive the information. And so but to me, it's just not enough counselors in our district. It's not enough psychologists, paraprofessionals. And so even college advisors were taken out, and so we're limited with them. So we just have to go back and revisit things. A lot of time we want to revamp, but instead just going back and looking in the past, in our history, to what worked, and just maybe updating it to 2026, but the original recipe, it always works.
That's great question. So once again, we'd like to thank everyone for listening in for our program again. And every second and fourth Monday we will be here. And we would like to thank Expose Under the Sun, Detroit Native Sun. Make sure you pick this up. And they can be reached at 313-457-5944. And we're also would like to, anyone that needs any help, any concerns, bring them forth to what's happening now in education. And we'd like to thank Mrs. Moore for taking time out of her schedule. We'd like to thank Mrs. Valerie Lockhart, and we'd like to thank Dr. Sandemar, and thank our listeners most of all. And we're just asking you, don't forget to vote on November the 4th for Leah Moore and Katrina Brown.
The real heroes are local.
And we'd like to thank everyone for listening in again. That's it.
Thank you, and please return. And Mrs. Lockhart, thank you so much. You've mentored so many people. I know a lot of viewers on the show are familiar with Mr. Darwin Griffin. He also got his start, host of Truth to Power with Mrs. Lockhart. And she's a strong feminist voice who produces even more women.
And this newspaper has been around, and it
Please pick it
speaks
up.
the truth. It does speaks the truth.
Absolutely.
And if you need to advertise, she has great advertising prices on here. And we're just asking you once again to reach out to Valerie Lockhart. She's the editor and the owner of the Detroit Native Sun, and she can be reached at 313-457-5944. And for all of your educational needs, reach out to the Spectrum Legal Law Firm, attorney Michael Fortner.
Everyone's reading the Detroit Native Sun, even our competitors. We've got the best writers, best coverage, and best ad rates to draw new clients to your business. Advertise with us for as little as $35. All ads include a free design and will be featured in both our print version newspaper and online. Call today for a free price quote and take advantage of our specials. When you purchase any full or half page for 2 months, we'll give you the third month free. That's right. You can reach another potential 50,000 to 100,000 clients for free. After all, three's the charm in advertising. Call today at 313-457-5944 or email us at DetroitNativeSunNews@gmail.com or visit our website at www.DetroitNativeSunOnline.com. We're waiting for your call. 313-457-5944.